Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. How many of you out there listening are playing the long game when it comes to holding XRP and even other cryptos in the broader crypto market? Raise your hand if you are playing the long game. Well, I'll tell you what. I can't see if you did that or not because this is the internet and I recorded this previously and I'm nowhere near you physically. But I'll tell you this. I am playing the long game. And in a way, I'll tell you this, I'm kind of, in a sense, copying what institutions and banks are doing here in what is apparently a bear market. That's what almost every analyst is calling it at this point, at least. And not that I'm seeking to copy them, I'm just noting that I'm taking the same approach effectively. And so check this out. This is astonishing, incredible news. It really is gigantic. Listen, Citibank is jumping into crypto. Now, they are the third largest bank in the United States, measured by both assets under management, which happens to be $2.29 trillion, as well as market cap. Their market cap is $91 billion. And so both of those metrics put them as the third largest bank in the United States. Absolutely massive. Now, the latest announcement comes today during what seems to be a crypto bear market. So, per usual, as the strong majority of market participants have now capitulated, banks and institutions are thinking of the future and planning to make money operating within the space for decades to come. They clearly understand it makes sense to plan for the long term. And as such, it's worth this friendly reminder. Just because crypto prices aren't where you want them to be right now, that doesn't mean they won't be way higher at some point in the future. And so, I understand that like, anybody listening to this, you're probably more engaged and more in tune with what's happening in crypto in a broader sense anyway. And not because it's my channel. I have no ego, I promise. I'm just saying, a humble Midwest dude. But I'm just saying the type of person, and I'm one of them, that seeks out information just in general, whether it's through YouTubers or blogs or articles, and I do all of that. You know, I listen to other YouTubers, I read endless amounts of articles every single day. If you're like me on that front and just you want to consume the information, you probably understand that better than the typical retail speculator. But there are these basically adult children out there. They're just babies, like, but I want my Lambo now. And then I'm like, well, sorry, you little bitch. You don't get to choose when prices go to the moon. Like, you cannot have it your way when you want it. And that's the point. And people feel these things and it sounds negative and that causes them to capitulate. But certainly not me. So I'm going to share with you some of the specifics on this, as well as an analyst that's saying, well, so there's opinions from a few analysts actually I'm going to cover. One of them is talking about what when you see a full retracing to the downside, you know, you're talking like for Bitcoin 80% drop. You know what price level that means? Because we ain't seen it yet. Ugh, I'll get to that too. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Damn it. If you don't like it, well, you can just get out. Now, as I record this, XRP's at 32 cents, Bitcoin's at $20,742, market cap for the asset class $928 billion, and Bitcoin dominance at 42.63%. So it's been, several days or so that we've basically just been seeing sideways trading action. In fact, here's the Crypto Fear and Greed Index at 11 out of 100, literally the same as yesterday, which does indicate that people are still in extreme fear. But there's a lot to look forward to. And I wanted to highlight this because I haven't talked about this in the longest damn time. It's probably been months, at least, I'm guessing. You guys remember the Spark token? I mean, I did mention the Spark token in a video recently, but I hadn't pulled up the price for the Spark token IOU. And I just wanted to point out that it's 41 cents, which means that it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 33% higher than XRP's price of 32 cents, somewhere in the neighborhood of 33% higher. Interesting, right? Now, I understand the Spark token, it's, you know, the blockchain isn't even live. It's very illiquid. It's only being traded on like a couple exchanges. I understand that, but it is interesting to see that. Now, I'm not actually complaining, so don't misread me. I'm actually thankful that the Spark token will be released relatively soon, and I'm going to get a massive quantity of it because I have a massive quantity of XRP. So I subjectively feel that way. Some would think it's small, some would think it's big. All subjective. But looking forward to getting that. And so I kind of look at it like, okay, whatever my XRP is worth, in this case, if my Spark token ends up being worth more than that right now it is, the IOU is at least, it's kind of like, I just kind of mentally clump it together for fun sometimes. It's like, whatever the price of XRP is, it's more like more than double that. And think about this too. So the IOU, its all-time high was $2.45 here. I'll put an all-time chart for anybody that is looking at your screen right now. It's just kind of fun to see. So back here on, when was this? 420, of course. On April 20th of last year, hit $2.45. Now, the whole crypto market's been going in the crapper since then, in terms of price action. So not surprising to see it go down. But once this thing is live, like, do you really think, like, if this thing's going to be adopted, do you not think it would be worth a lot more than that at some unknown point in the future? I don't know, but it certainly seems plausible to me. My fellow XRP YouTuber, The Bearable Bull, seems to think so. I like this tweet. I actually retweeted this. But he wrote the following. When the rest of crypto realizes what Flare Network has been building, it'll be too late. When they realize it was a free airdrop for XRP holders, they'll lose their minds. Exactly. Well said, The Bearable Bull. Because, the Bitcoin maxis, they're in their own little echo chamber. They're living in their own little bubble. They don't even know what the hell's going on here. And I think that when they see that there's like a crypto agnostic platform, well, effectively, I mean, you can implement any crypto into it, which means that, any sort of benefit that other smart contract platforms have, it's basically you can chuck it out the window. When they finally realize this and start paying attention, it will be too late for them. At least to have massive returns in terms of investing in something like this. And again, there's no guarantee for sure it's going to all pan out that way, but if it is as promised in terms of technologically what it can do, people are going to lose their damn minds. Now on to Bitcoin, though. Let me talk about this real quick before we get into the stuff about Citibank. Il Capo, so this is the analyst that I've been highlighting recently, and I've been following him for some time. He's one of the few that said Bitcoin is going to break down below $20,000. He ended up being right, but as I've been mentioning recently, also his analysis, he was speaking about it well in advance that Bitcoin would go below that level, but he wasn't talking about macroeconomic factors driving it, and macroeconomic factors are what drove it. Bitcoin crashed below that in tandem with the stock market, and that's not what I saw him saying anyway, so he ended up being right. Would he have been right if not for terrible monetary policy in the United States and other corners of the world and printing the dollar into oblivion, all that jazz? I don't know for sure. So it's just a question mark I have. But he said the following: Bitcoin lower time frame, local bottom formation between $16,000 to $17,000. So he does seem to think that it's going to go lower than what we've already seen, and some analysts do. Here's a credible crypto, though. He doesn't, so I thought I'd just kind of share these back to back because he doesn't think that's what's likely to be seen here. He wrote, about to revisit our weekly demand level after we bounced off of it over the last few days. Not expecting new local lows here, looking for the green region to hold and for us to put in another local high into the red resistance region between $22,000 to $24,000. And so you can see the lower end he's talking about holding this roughly $18,000 to a little over $19,000 holding, and then going back up into resistance, which is that's the red marker he's talking about, so $22,000 to about $24,000 there. So he's a little bit more on the positive side. But here, so this is the mega story. I love seeing this. This is from the Daily Hodl. Citibank building crypto custody service says mass digitization of traditional investments taking place. And so all of these people, all of these adult children that are crying, I want my Lambo now, or my stuff's worth less than it was yesterday, and they sold, fine. If they want to get out, they can get out, okay? They think that I'm wrong. So it's basically we're betting against one another. Okay, fine, I get it. I really feel strongly that they're wrong and I'm right. And I think that Citibank is right too in terms of long-term viability of the asset class. What do you think? The fact that price goes down now it's over? Well, Citibank sure as hell doesn't think so. And by the way, this isn't the first time that we knew that they were going to be jumping in. We just have more specifics now. And in fact, before I get into the latest news from today, like this is an article from June 24th of last year from The Block titled, Citigroup launches a digital asset unit within its wealth management division. Okay, so there were scant details in terms of what that actually meant. I remember reporting on this at the time, but I was like, oh, well, that's a good sign because even at that point, crypto prices weren't looking so hot. There's still a pullback going on. And then later that year, 2021, so this is November 23rd, 2021, we got this from Reuters. This piece was titled, Citigroup to create 100 roles in digital asset push. And I covered that as well. So like we knew this was coming, we just didn't really have specifics. But now here we are a year later from when the news initially broke. And it's not like price went down, then they rethought, they're like, oh gosh, the price went lower. Maybe this whole thing really isn't going to pan out. No. They're staying on track because they understand that it's just emotional speculators that cause the price movement. But eventually things do rebound, markets rebound. It doesn't go to zero. That's not what's happening here. Do you really think the third largest bank in the United States would be doing this if they weren't as close to 100% certain as possible? Okay? And mind you, it's not like this happened overnight. Bitcoin's been around since 2009. It's now 2022. And finally, you're seeing this type of headline, which would have seemed unthinkable back in 2009. But it is happening and it is here. So check this out. Financial services giant Citibank is creating a crypto custody service, saying that a mass digitization of traditional investments is already underway. According to a new press release, Citi has chosen Swiss-based crypto custody firm Medico as its partner to develop digital asset custody capabilities. And here's a quote. This collaboration brings together Medico's technology and digital solutions with Citi's expansive custody network to develop a platform to enable clients to store and settle digital assets seamlessly and securely. So let me just pause to note, and not that all of their customers will just jump in immediately and use this, but they have, it's estimated, over 200 million individual customers, individual humans as customers. And so that's not including any sort of business to business accounts that they have set up. That's humans. That's incredible. So exposure to the crypto asset class, this is a big thing. It's just going to keep expanding, right? And then the quote continues. Citi intends to fully integrate Medico's bank-grade digital asset custody and orchestration platform, Harmonize, into its existing infrastructure to develop and pilot digital asset custody capabilities. The strategic partnership enables Citi to extend its existing capabilities to digital assets while leveraging its current technological, operating, and servicing model. Citi's extensive global network, coupled with the power of the Harmonize platform, will allow Citi to expand securely and effectively into new markets while utilizing its existing global operations, technology, and risk framework, end quote. So here's what you're going to see over time. Of course, more people will endlessly come in. I understand that this is a more scary time and that there are not that many new people entering crypto on a regular basis. Of course, again, it's cyclical. I mean, this is what it was like in 2018. When I started this YouTube channel, there were not many new people jumping into crypto, right? It's the same thing now. There's just not, it's not quote unquote hot right now. But this is the most important time to pay attention, I'll say that. Because this is when you can buy stuff on the cheap and plan for when the rally ultimately does happen at some unknown point in the future. That's the point. But I will say this. What's going to happen as time passes is you're going to see a blurring in the lines of like what actually is a bank. Because you've got crypto exchanges right now that, while technically, most of it anyway, not technically banks, they offer custody. But now you have entities that are technically banks jumping in and offering custody. Then you have firms like PayPal selling cryptocurrencies. These businesses, they're just going to congeal into like something that is just kind of loosely based in finance. You're going to see it. Not that all of them will, but also those banks that don't adapt to the changes, they're going to go the way of the dodo, my favorite extinct avian creature. It's all a-coming, my friend. But in the short term, where is Bitcoin going? Should we be very scared right now? Well, here's a headline from the Daily Huddle. Here's the worst case scenario for Bitcoin according to crypto analyst Nicholas Merton. A popular crypto analyst is looking at historical data to determine whether Bitcoin has actually reached its bottom or not after enduring an extended downtrend. In a new strategy session, Nicholas Merton cautions his 516,000 YouTube subscribers against feeling too exuberant about Bitcoin rallying off its weekly lows after Bitcoin briefly dipped under $18,000 on Saturday. And here's a quote. I don't want people to get too caught up in the excitement. While I do feel we could see another day or so of gains, maybe even coming back up to this range here around $22,300, I want to emphasize the difference between where we are now, this 75% correction, and what an 80% correction might look like. One of the biggest difficulties that some people have is understanding how percentage declines can get exponentially worse, even though you're only moving down technically in the sense of percentage terms by a couple of single-digit points. If we go from 75% to the typical 80% correction, what would that look like? It wouldn't just be a couple $100 or $1,000 down, no. We would be going from a $17,500 Bitcoin price all the way down towards around $13,700, testing towards the $14,000 range that we saw the price top out at, or at least set an interim top during the bull market back in June of 2019, end quote. So, not to scare anybody, but I will say this, and we don't know for sure if that's going to happen. If it does, if you feel fearful, just come to this channel because you will find me still making videos, not running away, and also not being fearful because this is a known factor. The fact that crypto does this, that's a known quantity, all right? This is not an unknown. It's not like if this happened, it would be the first time ever, and oh my God, we don't know it's going to go. Is it going to go? Does it? No. Take a breath, take a breath. We have all sorts of historical data to indicate this is very par for the course for crypto. So what, you can imagine what that would mean for the price of XRP and other cryptos, though, other altcoins. I suspect that altcoins would go so low that I would be sufficiently enticed to go on the biggest shopping spree that I've gone on in probably more than a year. That would be my guess. So again, we don't know for sure that's coming, but I do remember way back. You remember the blockchain backer, my fellow XRP YouTuber. I'm sure a ton of you follow him as well. Well, I mean, even last year, he was talking about eventually Bitcoin going back down. I can't remember the exact price level, but he was talking about like the low teens in terms of thousands. Like, I can't remember if he said like 12, 13, 14,000. He did believe that ultimately Bitcoin would correct down to that. Now, we were all hoping, of course, that we'd have an alt season before that. But this price level was never out of the question. You know, it's really normal for Bitcoin. So, excuse me, sorry folks. If this does happen, I'm not going to be the least bit worried. I'm just going to get gleeful, and that's when I'll get greedy. I will just buy a bunch of stuff. I will buy everyone's fear that I can. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.